Hello everyone, and welcome to Yakuza 0. I am Drunken Dan.
And I'm mad that we're not doing Spider Timber.
I don't own Spider-Man. I bought Kiwami 2 instead.
Well, we could have done Shattered Dimensions.
I don't own that either.
Well, you did.
No. I own the PS1 games, I own Ultimate, and I think that's it, actually.
Wow.
I don't own a lot of the Spider-Man games.
Guess you're not a true believer.
At least I didn't make him the Iron Lad, okay?
I mean, at the end of the day, though, that's hardly like the most, it's hardly the worst thing that's happened to Spider-Man in his entire career.
I mean, if we're gonna go through the whole chamber, yeah, we'll be here a while.
Yeah, well, Yakuza has so much, like, time in between stuff happening that...
Yeah, right now I'm just letting the intro play, so there's gonna be a lot of time to bullshit about nonsense.
So I hope people like reading.
I hope you like reading, and I hope you like watching a bunch of crazy Japanese mobsters do over-the-top action scenes as we play good Shenmue 0.
Oh, there it is. I was literally had a kind of mental pool going on how long it was going to take you.
You know what? If you remind me when I edit this, I'll fucking put a little timer in and won't explain it until I do this so we can see how long it took me to do that gag. I bet you it wasn't even a minute.
No, I don't think so. It's more or less what I expected.
But for the audience, he already knows this. We're going to be doing New Game Plus because it'll be easier for me to get through the game quicker. And I'm going to be doing just the main story stuff. I might run into side stuff and do them when I run into them, but for the most part, I'm going to be just sticking to the main plot. Otherwise, we could literally be here for, like, a year or two, like, in terms of recording sessions. And difficulty will do normal.
Oh no, I don't think our friendship can survive if I spend that much time together.
I mean, I'm probably going to do Kiwami after this, but then again, who knows, because I'm also playing Kiwami 2 on my own. I might be so sick of Yakuza, I might be like, no more Yakuza. But who am I kidding? I fucking love these games. I'm new to the series, by the way, people. Good.
I was going to say, it's kind of fortunate we started this, because Kiwami 2 came out yesterday, I think?
Yesterday for us, it'll be a week ago by the time this goes up.
Oh yeah, but yesterday... in real time, not in fake YouTube time.
Yeah, but
It's
and
like
that wasn't even my intention. I was just kind of like, what should we do next? And I was like, I kind of want to do Yakuza. I just kind of want to do Yakuza.
You know, our recording schedule makes it really hard to stay on top, to stay like up to date. Like, how are you going to shoehorn KSI versus Logan Paul into this video and get those clickbait views?
I don't do clickbait though.
Well, now we know why you got
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, here's the thing. I know the system, but I don't want to do it. I just do this as a hobby, and I just hate the system, so I just don't. I mean, if I want to get extra clicks with this, I mean, I would just put, like, one of the fucking cabaret girls on with, like, the low-cut dress, and there we go.
No,
there's some boob clicks.
No, put the Dominatrix's, Oh, it is this one, yeah. Put the Dominatrix side quest in. Problem solved.
Or, like, I could put in, just, like, fucking Goro. Just put him in there somewhere.
No, the People's Idol Goro.
You're right, the People's Idol Goro. But, for people that are wondering about my history with this, because I was newer to the series, I started with Kiwami 1, and then I went back to this one. For recording, I'm doing it in the actual order of the storyline. But that's how I did it. I'll explain why I did it that way when I get to the first boss fight, and, like, why I ended up getting into the series when I did. And, man, I kind of wish I did sooner, because, like I said, this is good Shenmue.
I started not back when the first game just came out. I'm not going to be trying retroactively be that much of a hipster. I think I got into it just as the fourth one had come out, but I played the first one with its surprising English dub.
Where Mark Hamill is Goro.
Yeah, it's the bizarre thing. So the English dub for Yakuza is 1, and then I went through 2 and 3 and 4. And then I never actually got to play 5 because by the time it had come out, like on Western release, I kind of stopped using my PS3. And I couldn't be
That's
asked
fair.
to sort it back out. So then I got back in when 0 came out, and Kiwami 1 as well. And then, they were the two things that got me back into the series, and then played 6, which were a long way off. And yeah, I picked up my Steelbook edition of Kiwami 2 yesterday, and so I think Kiwami 3 will be better than regular 3.
I don't know if they're going to do Kiwami or if there's going to be an HD port. I think it'll be an HD port of the Japanese version with a new translation, because I heard things about the original translation of 3. I wouldn't be able to tell you firsthand. I mean, someone watching this might, and they can go on a tirade in the comments and tell me about it, and I'm fine with that. I'll read it. I get like 1 comment a week, maybe.
Man, though, these games. The only reason I got the Steelbook is just because these games have like gorgeous Steelbook art.
Oh yeah. So like a lot of times I skip Steelbook, but like these are really nice. Like they look really good.
I kind of lucked out in the first one. In the basically, it's actually bizarre because like the store I bought them from basically had no versions except the Steelbook, but it was like exactly the same price. So
yeah, that happened. That happens sometimes. It's weird. Yeah, the only Steelbooks I own are Kiwami 1 and 2 and King of Fighters 14.
I think
I don't own the Persona 5 one because I honestly like the regular box art more.
Oh, I do have the Persona 5 one because it's the only one they had.
That's fair. I had a lot of people go, well, why didn't you get the Steelbook one? I'm like, I prefer the regular box art, that's why.
I got the Steelbook of Nier Automata as well.
I don't... yeah, they didn't have that here. On the plus side, though, it did come with a reversible cover, so I could put on the Japanese cover, which looks so much better than the weird, like, Fox X-Men cover that they put on the American version.
Oh, don't get me started on X-Men. So, as part of the like, build-up to Trainman coming out, well, actually, when this goes out, it'll be out tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
But actually, no, 2 days after.
I almost feel bad about us talking over this, because it is really good, but hey, you can read.
But it's kind of like, well, I mean, apart from the fact that I can't really commentate, because I can't see it.
Yeah. Well, we already know the problem. I mean, so we tried it when Sabo was here, and he's like, okay, now I understand, which means when he comes back next week, he probably won't be like, hey, could you turn on the stream?
That's not nearly as rapey as Sabo sounds.
Hey, can you guys, like, turn on the stream? Is that better?
Closer.
The problem is my voice is a little too high-pitched.
You really gotta sound like, you know, a guy who's on some kind of register somewhere.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, he says the exact same joke.
I know, but still, Jesus fucking Christ. But,
it's not like it's far from the worst thing I've said in these things.
No.
It's far from the worst thing I've said today.
Knowing you, probably.
Actually, it was earlier when I was talking with a friend, and I mentioned somehow Hank Pym came up, and then they said, "Oh yeah, because he hit his wife," and I just got really fucking butt mad. And I was like, "So Hank Pym hits his wife once, but Hal Jordan genocides like how many planets and people, and he gets away with it, and people are just like, yeah, old pal Hal Jordan,
Tony Stark."
Tony hired Titanium Man to attack Congress. Stark.
Tony started a civil war. Stark.
Or how about our old friend Spider-Man sold his marriage to the devil, literal devil.
Because Joe Quesada really didn't like the idea of a married couple.
Yeah, and Brian Michael Bendis doesn't really like the idea of a well-crafted story.
No, he doesn't. And don't forget, Joe Quesada also doesn't like the idea of the mutants being an allegory for a minority group's actually making sense. Instead, wants them just being chased by giant purple robots. I mean, what?
I mean, I think we could be here all day and talk about how the X-Men have been mishandled.
Yeah, especially during that era.
Especially in this era. Oh, that's the other thing, is that Jean Grey's back right now, right, or something? And
Oh
she's-
yeah, so there's technically 2 Jean Greys.
Yeah, but it's like she also caused the supernova and wiped out an entire star system.
Yes.
So it's like, well, okay,
Well,
I'm glad that,
well, I mean, technically, only one of those 2 did,
but I'm
because the one's from the past, and it's weird. She's cool though, but it's weird.
The only good Jean Grey is a dead Jean Grey.
I like the new past version they made. That's now like a regular character. Comic books are fucking weird.
And
We say that every time. Oh yeah, they are fucking stupid. I like. Oh, that reminds me. They released a cover for, or like a small write-up advertising a future Squirrel Girl book where they call it the Death of Squirrel Girl, and the whole write-up is a whole parody of like the whole killing a character in a comic book thing. It's like, will we kill Squirrel Girl? You won't know unless you pick up the book. they just do this whole like joke write-up, and I was laughing.
Oh, I thought
Mind you, they also did a cover too. So when Marvel did their rollback to #1, Squirrel Girl didn't even make it a year before they rolled it back, and like the cover was like, what was it? #1, only the second one in a year. They have a fucking field day with it, and it's great.
It's okay. We can all roll back #1s now that he's dead.
Huh?
The We Are #1, that meme song.
Oh yeah, he
the
did
guy
pass
was.
away.
I don't know what the character was. I never watched Lazy Town.
Robbie Rodden.
That was it.
I didn't watch it, but I know memes, and I've seen clips of Robbie Rodden.
I've seen.
Of course, I have.
Yeah, but like, So how would you? So actually, here's the point. How would you describe the appeal of the Yakuza games? Because I've kind of struggled thinking on it a lot.
I don't. So I really like the story of the game, and I'm a big fan of beat 'em ups. So, and it has a really good story, and the beat 'em up aspects are really fun. The side stuff is also really fun, and it's weird. So it does a really good job of mixing like serious storytelling along with like comedic moments. And over the top moments. It's weird how it handles it. It even handles like QTEs in a way that don't piss me off. And by the way, QTEs tend to piss me the hell off in video games.
But I mean, like, you can understand that on some level, this game really shouldn't work because, like, spoilers for the plot of this game that kickstarts in like 5 to 10 minutes. But the whole basic premise is Kazuma Kiryu has never killed a man. Except when he did just straight up kill. Wait, except when he allegedly kills a man.
Yeah. We're gonna see in like a second because I'm about to get into a street fight. So you're gonna if they don't die immediately, since this is New Game Plus, you'll probably get to see at least one heat attack.
Kazuma Kiryu never killed anyone.
You know, the thing is though, even though we joke, he is still like, even like when we look at other like mainstream video games, he's like one of the weirdly most morally upright protagonists in video games, even though he's a nasty crime boy. Like, it's really funny.
I don't think Kiryu understands what it means to be a Yakuza. Because he beats up people for being loan sharks, trying to claim on debts or trying to claim debts from people who haven't paid, which is what the Yakuza do. He's not very good at getting protection money. Like, he's just way too nice. And it's like, why did you fall into this crowd of
like, most of the time he'd be walking down the street, and he doesn't, like, hold somebody up for money. He sees somebody being held up for money and puts their head through a fucking window. In fact, that's what's happening right now.
Like, he's just so bad at being a criminal.
You've been struck by a terrible criminal. Ow!
I mean, Kiryu does wear a white suit.
Right now I'm wearing the black suit because this is before he gets the white suit. This is the origin, remember?
Just Kazuma Kiryu, but it's superhero origin stories.
It kind of is, though.
Kazuma Kiryu begins.
It kind of is his origin. Like, it's like telling you, like, where he learned how to fight, because he doesn't even have the dragon style yet in this game.
If somebody told you that I was just your average Yakuza member without a care in the world, somebody lied. Uh, I've actually rewatched the first two of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, also in preparation. I haven't been able to bring myself to get to the third one yet.
Okay, they're not giving me heat meter yet, so you won't see a heat attack yet. But you do get to see enough of, oh, I can't even change fighting styles right now.
We've not met Bacchus yet, so...
Well, I mean, I have a New Game Plus, so I have, like, all my items and shit. Majima will have the same shit that I had when I stopped playing. And what's really funny is, I got really lucky at one of those, there's, like, random, like, mystery machines that'll give you, like, random drops. And I got a really good fucking item that I kept through the entire game. And I got it early on, and I still have it right now.
Nice.
Because I went with New Game Plus. Because, again, this game is long. I love it. I loved it when I played it the first time. But for the sake of recording, I'm like, yeah, it's better we cut it down a lot. Like, this game, like I said, it's, like we're saying with the appeal, it's kind of hard to describe. So, like, I can tell you everything I don't like about Shenmue, and I can tell you everything I like about this game, but it's hard for me to be like, this is, like, it's weird. It's, like, one of those things where it's, like, I would love to recommend it to people, but it's hard to, unless I know what you're into.
Well, okay, put it this way. Why didn't you describe, in the most basic terms, like, what it is about this game that you think works versus what doesn't work in Shenmue, and what is it that about these two series that allows them to be like this?
Oh, I can do a compare and contrast. So in terms of story and presentation of its characters and like how the story unfolds, Kiryu right off the bat in the first scene, even in this, you get an idea of his character, like where he stands, his morals, like even already where we're at, you get a picture of who he is as a character, even though the story hasn't really taken place yet. In Shenmue, they never really have character establishing moments. Ryo just kind of goes, oh, my dad's dead, I better find his killer, and then you just kind of walk around town asking questions. Then you're told to go to another guy, wait a day to talk to this other guy. Then you do that. Then you wait again, talk to the next guy. Maybe one guy tries to kill you, and you do a sloppy QT. And you do that. Not a single one of them has any personality. In fact, I mentioned this in a recording recently. So one of my favorite moments is, I wish we were playing one to compare and contrast the Yuki stuff, but Yuki is fairly barren in Kiwami, but she becomes a big part of it later. And even in the little bit, you get more out of her than Ryo's childhood friend, who, like, you know she's his childhood friend, and he's into her, and buys her a ring. And, like, not Ryo, for Yakuza. Then for Ryo, it's like, okay, childhood friend, and that's all you get. And then later you learn that she's moving to America to go to school. And Ryo doesn't really have a reaction to it. Like, that's it. He just says, like, oh, I see. And then you take a picture and you can give her either the better picture or the shittier picture. I don't really think that there's any difference between which one you give her. And that's it. And then in terms of the plot, like I said, it's a basic revenge plot. You go throughout the city asking questions, and you learn that his killer went to China. And you fight some guys in a long-ass QT that sucks balls. Then the QT is over. He gets on the boat. Game 1 ends.
You missed the forklift.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You dick around on a forklift for a while. That's literally the best part of the game, and all you're doing is driving a forklift. The forklift controls better than Ryo does. I want you to think about that for, like, a second.
Sorry, I'm just kind of got Mystery Science Theater in my head now.
They tried to kill him with a forklift. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. That only happens in Gungrave, which we're not playing, but I would love to play it at some point.
Put it on the list.
It has been on my list for years, and I have yet to play it. But, yeah, it's like... So that's in terms of story, and then in terms of gameplay, Shenmue does not control very well. And in the first game, you have to do a lot of waiting in real time. Now, the second one adds a wait time. Shenmue doesn't really... Not Shenmue, Yakuza doesn't have a wait system. You can just go and do it. If you want to do something or continue with the plot, you just go. You just do it. If you want to fuck around the arcade and play Space Harrier for the moment, you can do that too. There's nothing really stopping you either way. You can just do what you want. You can enjoy the game and enjoy the story. There's not really much of a story in Shenmue, and the puzzle aspect of it, quote, quote, is just talk to this guy at this time, at this place. That's it. And there's no character to anybody. which is boring. And then in terms of the combat, there's like maybe like 3 times where you get to actually control the combat where it's not a QT. And even for the time, it controls like shit. Where this game feels just right. I really like how it feels. Kiwami 2 feels very different to me. Like, not very, but it feels a lot different because you only have the one style than, say, 1 or 0. But it still also feels really good. There's things I like about it more than this game, and things I like more about this game than that. But there's not really like a favorite system. It's weird. But both are really good. And Shenmue just fails at everything. It fails at storytelling, it fails at characterization, it fails at gameplay. The distractions are better than the game, and when the distractions become better than the game, you're like, wow, Space Harrier is really fun. Why don't I just play Space Harrier? Or why don't I just play a fun game? Or if you want a game with a story, just play a different game with a story. Because you can find one that's better very easily. I can name several off the top of my head. You want me to? I'll start. I could literally just cheat and say most of the Metal Gear games. I could say Yakuza. I could say just about any JRPG I've ever fucking played. In fact, let me just look over here. Tales of Berseria.
Your point does kind of remind me, because a cousin of mine had owned Watch Dogs, which...
Watch Dogs also better than Shenmue!
Yeah, but I played it briefly. I was like, oh, it is just a very boring, bland GTA clone. There's nothing really exciting, dynamic, or interesting about it. It felt like exactly the kind of game where they do all the like pre-release hype. It's like, oh my god, look at those graphics though, and then it comes out, it's like, oh well, the game's just average, you know.
I liked it. Mind you, probably if I played, so I played that before this, so I really like the hand-to-hand combat in it. If I played this first, I probably wouldn't like Sleeping Dogs as much as I did.
Oh, not Sleeping Dogs, Watch Dogs.
Oh, Watch Dogs? Oh, I was talking about Sleeping Dogs, sorry. Watch Dogs sucks. I'm sorry.
Sleeping Dogs is fine.
Yeah, Sleeping Dogs is good.
Little...
For some reason, I thought Sleeping Dogs. I sometimes forget Watch Dogs is a thing.
So, but like, it was exactly as you'd expect, the really boring, uninteresting GTA clone. But then it has this like minigame where you can play as like a spider tank in this like VR thing. And so that was actually a somewhat cool idea, because you had like the ability to go up alongside walls and such. And I would have liked to see that concept more fleshed out, because that was unique and interesting. It kind of reminded me of the Ghost in the Shell game on the PS1.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I remember having a demo of it and never owning it. I didn't even know it was Ghost in the Shell until years later.
Same.
But like, yeah, there's just... And I don't know, it felt like such a misuse. It would have been like, yeah, add a few more mechanics to this, adjust the gameplay, and that could have been a far more interesting IP than another GTA clone.
Yeah, but that's all that Ubisoft makes is open world games that...
You could still make an open world...
Except for now, they're moving towards the live services idea.
But you could make an still make it an open world game.
No, I didn't say... Did I say good open world game? Mediocre. That's all they make. And they're even doing... And hell, they turned fucking Beyond Good and Evil into that. Which, oh, I'm so happy about that. I love the mature writing where it's like, let's just say fuck all the time.
I like how Assassin's Creed Odyssey is hyped up by them saying, yeah, but for the first time in the series, you could play as a woman. It's like, well, couldn't you do that in Syndicate? The one set in London? I never played it, but I know that was one of the selling points.
Also, haven't, like... I mean, you could, but I think her sections were really short. But, like, at the same time, there's been a dozen games that let you play as a woman that are much better than that fucking game. I'm gonna be real for a second and probably get a little bit of heat. I have never really liked the fucking Assassin's Creed series.
I like the second one and the fourth one. It's like the second one at least was refined the mechanics. The first one is basically a glorified tech demo, I think.
I just never liked any of them, so it's like...
The second one at least has like a bit more of a story. At least it has more variety to its gameplay and its elements. It's not just doing the same 5 quests across each city 3 times. All 3 cities, and all 3 times versus. And then Assassin's Creed 4 had the pirate ship stuff, and that was a cool.
I was tempted to play it because of that, but then I just never did.
I mean, It's one of those things where, yeah, you probably should have built this as the core game, but then they had to slap Ass Creed shit onto it. And like the series just goes on and on and on, and it never ends. And now it's just a new age version of the Call of Duty Battlefield problem.
It was that a long time ago. If I'm going to be fucking honest with you,
it was. But now the difference is that now nobody gives a shit about Battlefield and Call of Duty, or at least nobody complains about it as much.
Nah, yeah, you don't really hear people bitch about it as much as they used to. Where I just always had indifference because I don't care.
I don't play them. The only time I ever got mad about it was when DICE got their grubby little mitts on Star Wars Battlefront.
Rest in peace, Star Wars Battlefront.
And then killed the franchise. But then it's okay because Star Wars is dead.
Yeah,
so
don't worry. Disney's doing a good job of doing that for you.
We killed it and pissed on its grave. Here lies Star Wars.
You see, that's why Star Wars should have been like Gundam and be built to be a shill from the beginning.
I mean, it wouldn't have been a bad idea. It honestly is probably where Star Wars could have succeeded if they, instead of like forcing themselves to tie back into the original movies at every possible angle, if they'd have tried like new side stories, like you could have done the whole poetry bullshit.
Gundam realized that because so here's actually just funny, like a fun little fact for the audience. G was the first one where they're like, let's not do a UC series, and then they kind of started doing that. They still make stuff in UC. But what's good about them doing the other ones, regardless of how good they are, in terms of getting new people in, is it gets new people in, because it's a lot easier to get them into this new continuity that you make for, like, a one-shot, than it is to try and get somebody in the UC, because there's a fuckload of stuff in UC.
But it also means you're not constrained by what has to happen to make all the previous stuff work.
Yeah.
You know? On some level, yeah... If you have UC stuff, but it's set before like Shah's counterattack, well then you know the elements have to play out in a specific way because that's how they are by the end of Shah's counterattack.
And there's not as big of a gap between Shah's counterattack and Double Zeta as say like between 78 and Zeta, because there was a huge gap of time that they were able to work with. That's why they were able to make like 2 to 3 fucking like in between shows.
Yeah, OVAs and
that were able to
whatever.
go into like technology in between and shit like that, because the technology jump was pretty fucking huge.
And the problem is with Star Wars is like the more you have to say like, oh, but we need a Han Solo origin movie. So that just means so much of the movie is already done as far as the audience is concerned, because it's like, oh, so it has to be how he becomes a smuggler, how he gets the Millennium Falcon, how he meets Chewie, how he gets his famous blaster.
What's really funny to me is I remember when they announced that, and I think you and I are both like, that sounds boring. I don't give a shit about Han. And like at the time, the audience was like, oh yeah, Han Solo movie! And then, guess who was right? These two fucking wackos.
I mean, I don't think anyone had any real, like, expectations.
Not after a while. At first, people were fucking hyped because Han Solo, who I think is the most overrated character in Star Wars, next to Boba Fett.
But the
Tell me I'm wrong.
My point is...
Tell me I'm fucking wrong.
No, Boba Fett is
more
I
said next to Boba Fett. Boba Fett's definitely the worst of the two.
He did something.
My favorite part is when Boba Fett just stood there
and
then got slapped, and for some reason he was popular. I never understood his popularity as a kid.
He was beaten by a blind man.
I never understood his fucking popularity as a kid. I was like, why do people like this guy? I mean, I liked Han when I was little. When I got older, I didn't like Han anymore. I was like, this guy's kind of lame. He kind of like peaks in the first movie. Actually, no, he kind of peaks in the second movie. Let me correct myself.
But, like, it's still, as I said, everything then has to tie into the original movies, whereas they'd have been far better off just, like, going, like, the games, all the various
or
games
you just
and
jump
books
ahead.
And comics did. Or you just go to, like, completely different things, like Knights of the Old Republic. Doesn't have to constrain itself with all the other shit, because it happens 1,000 years before the other shit, before the Skywalker shit happens.
I like how the tutorial makes me upgraded a part, and I'm just like, well, you just made my overpowered ass stronger, okay.
I like how the justification for upgrades in this is
you use money because it's a whole like commentary on the boom period from the 80s in Japan, the bubble period in the 80s from Japan. So like money's just flying everywhere.
Back before the dark times, and then the darker times, and then the darkest times. Man.
But yeah, sorry I had to interrupt for that because it's just funny that they made me do one upgrade, and I was like, oh, okay. I have lots of money from before. Sure.
But because they have this staunch idea that, well, people will only accept Star Wars if it's the familiar, if it's what people know, and won't, and have like basically no capacity for breaking away. I mean, I guess The Last Jedi kind of proves they don't.
Well, I mean, it also depends on the director and
proves
where
they
you get, and they got literally like one of the worst people they could fucking get.
I don't even think it's necessarily that Rian Johnson is an awful director. I just think that he's a guy who did only one movie of note that people knew about and had any kind of acclaim, and that was Looper. And like even then, it was still just a kind of it's all right. Bruce Willis is asleep throughout most of it, but you know. So then it's like we hand him $1 billion franchise, and then he gets in his, and then nobody ever says no to him or refuses or say, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. They just handed over Star Wars to him and gave him absolutely complete creative control. And it's like, so yeah, he fucks around. He does this subverting expectations because, hey, guess what? Because Star Wars is so predictable, because you've hardlined it so much to the rest of the franchise, and everyone's like, yeah, but it's just going to be a rip-off of Empire. He then frantically has to go, no, it's not going to be like that, because I'm going to pull the rug out from under you at every
But without
opportunity.
setting anything up or using any foreshadowing. Or any sense of reason or logic. Like, Kylo Ren is not a master overlord character. He's a fucking twonk. No, he's a twink. Sorry. No, he's a twonk in that one scene where he suddenly is just giant. But he's like a fucking idiot. He's not someone you build as your giant overlord because he's stupid. He's not that kind of character. Like, imagine, like, okay, what would be a funny allegory, like, or analogy where we take another thing and then pick the dumbest character. Oh, what would be something funny right at the top of my head?
Well, no way to ruin a joke than to start it with.
Yeah,
what would be the funniest thing to say?
Yeah. I mean, the problem was I thought of too many ideas, and, like, 2 of them were Dragon Ball, and I was like, do I really want to do Dragon Ball again?
That is the best save I've ever heard. No. It's just I thought of too many jokes that I just couldn't.
No, I'm serious. Because I was like, what if, like, the end of Frieza Saga, if they just randomly said, no, Frieza's not the big bad, it's Oolong. Just out of nowhere. You thought it was Frieza, but it was me, Goku!
I mean, he did once fight Beerus, sort of.
Maybe he is the legendary Super Swine. But
yeah.
Wait, what if in Star's counterattack it wasn't Char pulling the strings, but instead it was fucking Haru? The little fucking green robot.
Yeah, I know which Haru you meant, but for some reason I just kind of pictured Haru. I pictured Haru, but it's Haru
I figured you were gonna go there.
Head
you know
instead.
what? She should have been the plot twist villain.
I mean, she should have at least had something. Instead of just been like, oh, she's the final party member, but she kind of is there.
Her
like,
Link is better than say say Yukiko's, but like the problem is she came in too
the problem
late.
is
she came in a little bit sooner, so they could have done more with her.
And
Akechi has the issue where I already figured out he was the fucking plot twist villain, like literally in like the first 5 minutes. But like they should have kept him around for like another dungeon or 2 before they had him go ha ha.
I mean, it doesn't help that Akechi is the only character, the only one of the party members who has literally is not on the box art, who's not on
in the American one. He is
he on the box art? Is he on? I feel like he's not on.
I mean, I'd have to get up and walk over to my shelf, and I don't feel like doing that right now. But I'm pretty sure he is. But so when before the game came out, and I was trying to figure out who it was because they were going to have one, I looked at the roster, and so here's how I approach a like in terms of a plot twist or a traitor story. So in Persona, I go by what I know from the games, like how they usually function as a story. So right away, I checked off any female character if you can date them. If you can date them, they won't be it. Sai I checked off because she's the one interrogating you. So I checked her off like almost immediately. And
No, that's because
I mean
you
that's
checked
just
her out.
cheating and wrong, but yes. So I was like, all right, it has to be a male character. And so I wasn't quite sure yet, and I can tell you the exact moment when I called Akechi. After you get arrested and you start telling your story, they go into 2D animation for a bit where you see Sai and you see Akechi. At that moment, I said Akechi. Because he's being animated in 2D style before any other character, which means he's super important to the plot. Now, the Persona 4 one with Adachi was a little bit sillier how I predicted him. He had the same voice as the protagonist, so I was like, EVIL!
I mean, that's only
I mean,
a dub
yeah,
thing, to be fair.
you're right. But I wasn't thinking that at the time. I'm telling you what I was thinking at the time.
I just like how in Persona 4 at the very end, where it's like, who is the real killer? And then it's immediately once you come to this question that then Adachi's just like,
Yeah.
bitches and whores. I mean, hello, it's me, Adachi.
My favorite
I
part
didn't
is when you're
kill
talking
them.
about, when you're discussing, like, who did it. Like, you know, when you're going to the delivery man thing. Like, someone who did it. I like how they give you an option to be like, or, like, a police officer, and then you're just immediately shot down.
Policemen wouldn't do anything. None of the
This
victims
is Japan,
were
not
black.
they'll have those
Yeah, well, black
black
people.
people. Not very many.
Uh,
When a Japanese person sees a black person, they're like, what? What's that? Okay,
The cops
I'll
shot
let you
them
pick because they're making me do the music thing. Which, by the way, I'm going to screw up because they're going to be yapping through this. Do you want me to do Judgment or... Oh, excuse my pronunciation. This is going to be terrible. Bakamitai? That's the one
you know
I picked
what?
every other
Judgment.
time, but sure, we're gonna do it because I love it. And don't worry, everybody, I'm gonna be awful at this. Just because I know how to punch people doesn't mean I know how to do rhythm games. Doesn't mean I don't play rhythm games. Doesn't mean I'm good at them though.
Well, don't worry. If you're playing Overwatch now, you can play DDR.
Oh, they have that. Oh, fuck! I have to rapid press it.
The newest map they're adding to the game has a functioning
That's
DDR
really
machine
cool,
in the spawn
actually.
room.
I missed one. Wasn't even when we were talking. I just fucked it up.
Well, poo. Yeah, I'm completely blameless.
So far we have one mess up, but it's gonna get crazier soon.
So,
There we go. There we go. I started fumbling like a fucking fish. This is great. Oh, there we go. Oh, there I did again. Oh, there we go. All the mess ups are coming. Never have me on karaoke night.
I mean,
Yeah.
just goes without saying, really.
It doesn't mean you don't have to talk. It's funnier this way.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, you don't need
I was
to be
trying to be
nice.
nice.
It'll be funnier watching me struggle to have a conversation while doing this. Oh, fuck. Oh well. It's over. I think.
But,
Yeah, it's over. Oh, I can't wait to see the
So,
rating. I'm sure it's worse than when I played on my own. Let's see. What's my
Thanks,
score? What's my
Mishki.
score? 85. That's better than it should be. This game is generous. I had 12 mistakes, 7 bads, 12 goods, and 97 greats. That's actually surprising.
well,
Entertain
That's
yourself.
something, at
Oh, yeah,
least.
it's carryover from last time. I was like, why is it at 12? Oh, yeah, because of New Game Plus. Alright, go ahead talking. I mean, you could before, but that's done now.
so I've been rewatching the old 1994 Spider-Man cartoon. because that's my that is
Fair.
basically my childhood. And also because like I think it's the second best Spider-Man cartoon.
I should rewatch that sometime. I haven't watched it since I was like probably like 8, 7. It's been years.
I mean, it's obviously crippled by.
I mean,
its
yeah, he couldn't
hilarious
throw a
amounts of
punch in that
censorship.
cartoon.
Couldn't throw a punch. Couldn't have
Nope.
Michael Morbius suck blood, so he had to suck plasma.
Yeah,
and
I was
put
gonna
the
say, it was
suckers
on
on
his
his hands, and it's like as if Morbius isn't god awful
They
enough.
did do that as one of the X-Men villains too. It was pretty funny.
But what else was there? They well, I mean, all the cops also have to
Yeah, I
have
think like
laser guns.
the Tim Burton Batman show is like the one. Actually, no. Let me be a smartass. The Paul Dini Batman show is the only.
Yeah, for some reason they managed to like get around a lot of the censorship things, and I'm not entirely sure how. Well, I guess
Though
Warner Bros.
later
backed
in
them
the
all way up to
series,
hill.
they had to
Backed them.
switch. Because like the last season they had laser guns, and
But I think-
Metropolis had to have laser guns. More
At least
futuristic.
Metropolis makes sense because the bullet doesn't really do it. Also,
No.
a bullet doesn't do anything to Superman. I mean, a laser doesn't usually anyway, but at least there's like some level of, well, okay, it kind of makes sense that criminals know that there's Superman flying around, that they need higher tech than
Yeah.
gun.
Oh yeah, I forgot. In this game, I can't save wherever I want. I'm gonna have to go to the phone booths.
Who is he calling all
question.
the time, I wonder?
Maybe.
Maybe it's Yumi. So, Yumi, if you could do me a favor, and if I ever wind up in prison, don't just go off and have a family
Please,
without me.
whatever you do. But
Whatever you do, Yumi, do me a favor. Try not to get almost raped. That'd be
and
swell.
please don't get shot.
Uh,
Hey Nishiki, whatever you do, don't like go completely psycho, try to kill me, and then
Please.
blow yourself up with a lot of money.
I fucking love how the very first thing of in Yakuza is, or just as you're going out, or you see the thing where they go, okay, Nishiki, we're going to put you in charge, but remember, you need to look after Kiryu when he gets out. He's your friend. And then the very next thing, it's like, Kiryu, I sent these guys to kill you. And it's like, fucking Nishiki. It's actually somewhat a good thing that Zero does. That's why I was saying before recording that Kiwami 1 feels like it was built with the idea that people have played Zero, because
And
so
they also
much of it
add a lot of
references
scenes for
back to
Nishiki
Zero.
so you can see what happened to him. We'll talk more. We should talk more about that when we actually do Kiwami, though.
Yeah, and like
Because this game's like about 40 hours long. So, like, if we record one a week, it's going to be at least 40 parts, give or take. If we do like an hour a week.
Yes.
And Kiwami's
Kind of
shorter, so
bizarre
it's about
to
like
say-
20
to think
hours,
of,
so that'll
like-
be like 20 parts.
It's kind of bizarre to think that a game that basically like new age beat 'em up is just kind of 40 hours
It's because
long.
of the story.
It's because of the
Oh,
story.
not even
all
side
the
quests.
side-
Like, the
all
main quest is like
additional
about
side
40
quests, 'cause
hours.
you will.
40 to 30.
Plus,
Yeah.
plus
Oh
any
yeah, I don't
extra
have to do
grinding
that. I
you
can
want
just
to,
I
which
can
you
just
won't
carve
be
my
doing
way right to end
effectively.
game, and I'll be stronger when I get to end game than I was when I played it on my own. So I'll have a lot more. Like, it'll be a lot easier for me this time around than when I played it on my own. But I'll do the same thing with Kiwami too, because by the time I get to Kiwami 2, I'll be finished it, and I'll just do New Game Plus as well. It's just easier that way.
You haven't.
It's not the
Yeah,
true
true.
experience, but you know. I mean, if
But
I was
YouTube,
if I
bro,
was
like,
streaming
Full
it, then I wouldn't
Mathematosis
care
did a,
because I'm
like-
streaming it rather than recording footage and have to have so many gigabytes and all that shit.
Yeah, no, I get you. But a YouTuber I like called Matthew Mitosis did
Oh, actually, hold on. Before we
case
go to
study
that,
on God of
because I
War
wanted
4.
to touch on the Marvel thing. So they So Marvel Rising comes out. Well, for us, it'll be tonight. They released their Zero episode of it, and I liked it. I'm not sure if you'll like it, but I really liked it. It was it's basically their version of Spider-Gwen's origin.
Oh, because I know
this
there's a new
is
show that's
Zero
got
of it.
Spider-Gwen as part of the
It's
team.
basically her origin and everything. They changed the backstory a bit to instead of Peter, since she's like in a semi-main universe, to where she's like friends with this Inhuman boy who got his powers and then gets murdered.
I don't know. I still don't like
I know you
Spider-Gwen on a
don't.
basic level.
It also has was it in that episode they had the Patriot in it. They had Squirrel Girl and Miss Marvel. You roboted it a little bit for me.
A bit.
They'll hear it. I'll just repeat it for you. They had Squirrel Girl, Miss Marvel, and the Patriot in it. I think they made their own version of Patriot though.
Oh God.
Because I think they made their own version of him. He's pretty good in it, but he's not even the main focus. He's just kind of in it. He honestly has the least amount, even though he fights her the most, he has like the least amount of focus. It's kind of funny.
I mean, Patriot's just god awful. He's just such a pointless character. He's just like Nuke, only with added Captain America.
There's actually
a
a scene I really liked is where he's like
Nuke?
bragging, he's like, I was trained by Captain America. And then like Spider-Gwen just basically like whips him and like webs him up and goes, like, he should have trained you better, and then just fucking leaves.
I mean, so was everyone. He did educational videos for
Oh
fitness,
god, this
you
fucking
cretin.
videos! I'm just imagining, like, remember that meme for a while of him like turning the chair around? I'm just thinking of that right now.
Yeah.
God damn.
But, like, I don't know. It's just this kind of basic problem I have, which is that rather than if they want to make more female superheroes, great, do it. But then, like, they want the easy option, which is just, oh, well, we'll just try and supplant other people in order to do it. Like, rather than build up characters who are unique, interesting, and dynamic.
They had a number of them when they did Avengers Academy, and then they unceremoniously killed, like, all of them.
And then it's okay because, hey, look, we've got a new Thor. Well, what makes her unique and interesting? She's Thor, but she's got tits. And it's like, oh, okay, I see. Oh, we've got Ironheart. What makes her interesting or dynamic? She's a woman, but also black. It's like, great, I want more diversity amongst my heroes. I just want them to be their own unique properties, not half-assed recreations
Gwen
of
works,
already
again, like I've
established
said before,
characters.
Gwen was built, so Spider-Gwen was originally built for the Spider-Verse thing. She just got really popular. And so they built off of that and made their own universe with it. Like I said, honestly, I like it. I don't think you've ever really given it a chance, if I'm going to be blunt.
I'm also just not a fan of just how many spider heroes we're getting in general. Like, at this point, yeah, I know it's exact what it's because of, and it annoys me because, like, yeah, well, you've got Spider-Man, and he's the cool, unique hero that he is, and everyone loves him. And then, like, but then you pile, but Scarlet Spider's on there, the second Scarlet Spider, and then Spider-Gwen, and then Miles Morales. And it's like, they're all fine characters, but, like, they're just kind of oversaturating the 616 with just Spider-Man, but slightly different to appeal to demographics. It feels like you're taking away what makes Spider-Man special by distributing it to everyone. Like, to quote The Incredibles, or to misquote them, if everyone's got spider powers,
the way
then
I see it, and for
what's
me,
the point?
like for like Gwen versus like Peter, the way she uses hers are different. Like, so it's not the same to me. Yeah, they have the same power set, but it's kind of like how, say, Power Girl fights differently than Superman. And how she uses her powers and how she carries herself. So, like...
I mean, at least Power
she's
Girl
also
is
one
an
you've given a
interesting
chance.
dynamic character. I mean, I'll concede that I've probably not given Spider-Gwen the fair shot that she... But, like, I don't know, all the other time... But, fair, when she came out literally amongst Lady Thor, who was
Yeah,
god-awful,
now Lady
and
Thor,
Ironheart,
which
who I don't
I
give a
agree with
shit
you when she
about,
first came
and-
out. She got better as time went on, but I can't really say that I was ever a huge fan of her. But yeah, I would recommend giving Gwen a shot at some point.
Well, here's my point. Everything that makes Lady Thor interesting is that because
Oh yeah, also I should point out too, like
she's
unlike Peter,
a lady
Gwen
or
isn't
because
like an
she's
intelligent
Thor.
person, so that's another thing too with how she like carries herself and how she acts. Where Peter,
I mean, Pete's not an intelligent person. He can't. He hasn't been able to work out any of his own problems.
like I said,
in,
there's
60+
he's
years.
intelligent, not wise. There's a difference. But I'm not gonna go to Dojima because that's gonna be like that would be like a whole hour in itself. Like going to Dojima headquarters, that's a whole like slew of fights. I think if I recall in this part of the game, it's been a bit.
Basically, one big
Yeah, it's gonna be a bunch
It's
of
the
fist
first
fights.
kind of big action.
So I'm gonna stop the. I'm gonna stop it here, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting more into this. A little sorry that there's not a whole lot, but in all the Yakuza games, it's a little bit before you get into the meat of the game and can kind of wander around where you want. But it's honestly good in my opinion, and I already saved, so I don't need to. I'm just kind of standing here. Anyway, guys, we'll join you again next week. Maybe we'll have Sabo next time, unless he's already dead again. Or the police have gotten him.
We can only hope.
Alright, everybody. Well, have a good day.